main streets of South Korea's capital, thousands of hardliners have taken over for the afternoon.
We will pay any price to preserve our country.
They're pro-US, pro-Trump, and very much anti-Kim Jong-un. They're dragging empty coffins for the family of North Korea's leaders.
USA, I love you, help me!
So why have you come to the protest today?
Quite simple. We are worrying about our country's future.
Despite the apparent thaw in relations between the North and the South, there are still vocal and passionate protests like this one that take place here on the streets of Seoul almost every weekend.
Now stakes are higher than before. They have more bomb, they have better missile, they have better technology, and their determination is hardened.
For the past 12 months, the rhetoric between Donald Trump's administration and Kim Jong-un has dramatically ramped up.
He has said things that are horrific, and with me, he's not getting away with it.
Dotard.
Dotard, it's not a word I say often.
Dotard, or a dotard, I'm sorry.
Little rocket man. He may be smart, he may be strategic, and he may be totally crazy.
The new year brought a new approach from the North. There was the successful Winter Olympics, where North and South Korean athletes marched under the one banner.
It's a very significant moment, isn't it?
Then the North Korean leader went even further, proposing a face-to-face summit with the US president.
He expressed his eagerness to meet President Trump as soon as possible. President Trump appreciated the briefing and said he would meet Kim Jong-un.
A lot of people thought we were going to war, and all of a sudden they come in, they say, we're going to have a meeting.
If I were in government, I would have strongly opposed and perhaps would have resigned from the White House over this summit.
Michael J. Green served on the US National Security Council under President George W. Bush. He believes the summit poses too great a risk.
The track record of negotiating with North Korea, and I've been involved in many of these negotiations, is pretty conclusive that they cheat and they will not live by any agreement.
And Mr. Trump is a unique deal maker. So his style and Kim Jong-un's style, even though these are two different leaders, but in some aspect they have some common ground.
There is zero evidence that North Korea is going to give anything. Donald Trump will think he's made this brilliant breakthrough, agree to this, and accidentally begin a process whereby some in South Korea, China, Russia, and others start trying to dismantle our alliances in Northeast Asia. And this will have an effect on ANZUS. I mean, this will affect the security of Australia. I don't think Donald Trump is cognizant of any of this. And the worry is he'll go in and start looking for something that tweets well, that sounds good in a tweet, like negotiating peace treaty with North Korea, no president smart enough to do this, no president dumb enough to do this.
Today, the North Korean leader was in Beijing at the invitation of the Chinese government. According to China's state-run news agency, Kim Jong-un told President Xi Jinping he was willing to meet the US president and was committed to denuclearization.
China doesn't want to be left out of this formula, wants to maintain influence. I would not be surprised at all that we find out that in order to incentivize Kim Jong-un, China is offering significant economic inducements.
In Korea's demilitarized zone, there's still a sense of optimism the talks will go ahead. This is an area that holds a special place in the heart of many Koreans. It's one of the closest places civilians can get to the north.
I feel sad when I see this site dividing Korea into south and north. I guess it's the same for the North Korean people too. I hope they get connected so those who miss their loved ones on the other side can visit and meet each other.
There are still so many questions that remain unanswered. Where will the talks be held? Will they be here in the demilitarised zone or in a neutral country? And more importantly, will they actually happen?
Back in Seoul, these peace activists cautioned the US against being too inflexible with the North.
The summit must happen. They already promised it. Otherwise, it's a fraud. I'm warning President Trump, you must make it happen as you promised.
I hope the summit will go well. If it doesn't, we will be anxious. I am always thinking about peace and reunification. South Korea's relationship with the North will improve if the talks with the US succeed.